Hey there, Infj entrepreneur. Is fear holding you back from starting your business? Do you have a business dream that you have been thinking about for the longest, but you haven't done anything to move it forward? Are you telling yourself that, oh, my ideas are not good enough, or the classic, it's too competitive in my industry? Being INFJs, we like to analyze every single possible outcome before taking action. And it's not that we are afraid to start, it's the fear of failure that deeply troubles our minds. And we tend to worry that we will try our best, but it won't be enough, and ultimately we end up failing. Literally, your fears are holding you back from taking action. So let's dive into how you can acknowledge those fears and overcome them to move forward in your business as an INFJ entrepreneur. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shamiso Miranda, and this channel is the best place for all things INFJ entrepreneur and INFJ careers. So consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to find a more satisfying work-life balance and discover opportunities best suited to your personality type. So the very first thing that you need to do to punch fear in the face is to make the decision that you are not going to let fear and excuses hold you back anymore. And this one decision can ensure your future success. So as INFJs, we always want to calculate all odds for success first, then we proceed cautiously. But sometimes you have to just leap and the net will appear, because failure is actually not the end of the world. Failure is your friend. Failure is the master teacher, I believe, because when you fail at something and you take the time out to analyze the failure, to look at what went wrong, why did it go wrong, how can you improve it, and you take lessons from that failure, that's going to equip you for your next journey. And with that added knowledge that you learned from the failure, that's going to launch you into success. So I truly believe that if you're going to fail fast, because the faster you fail is the faster that you're going to reach success. Generally, growing a business is a wonderful and absolutely challenging experience, and you really have to push yourself out of your comfort zones, and you have to be learning things continuously, because you are going to have to wear the hats of several people and do the job of several people. So there's always going to be new skills that you need to learn to move forward. So to punch fear in the face, you literally have to shine your light on what it is that you are afraid of. You have to acknowledge the fears that you have, and you have to analyze and look at them. And here's how you can break them down: by answering the following 8 questions. The first step you have to ask yourself, and I suggest you write this down so that you can always go back to it if need be. So the first step is to write down, what is it that you want to achieve? So for example, you could write, you want to write a book. The second step is to identify what exactly it is about writing a book that scares you. So for example, you could write something like, okay, I'm afraid to get bad reviews, and I'm afraid to not make any money. Then you have to go deeper into that. So in the third step, you have to identify the root cause of this fear that you have. So why would you be afraid to write a book? Okay, so we've identified that you're afraid to write the book because you don't want to get any bad reviews, and you don't want to not make any money in the process after having invested a lot of your time and energy to create it. So when you get to describe that fear in detail, you could discover something like, you once told your English teacher that you want to be an author one day, and they told you that no, they don't see you as an author. They see you more like a doctor or a lawyer or something. And that has stuck with you. So when you get to the fourth step, you have to identify within yourself the excuses and delaying tactics that you are using that are preventing you from writing the book. For example, in my own situation, I tend to over research. So I feel like I need to know everything. I need to be an expert before I can embark on certain things in my own life. So I will spend so much time researching, analyzing, reading this book, listening to this podcast, joining this course before taking action. And I then realize that actually this is a delaying tactic because it's slowing me down and stopping me from actually just going to start and write the outline for the book or just start the project where you are, because you don't have to wait to be an expert at something to start. You can start where you are, start before you're ready, because this will allow you to grow and expand, because you'll be constantly learning things along the way. Right before we get into the next step, I'd like you to let me know in the comments below, what action are you going to be taking today? It is time to walk straight into our fears and push them out of the way. You have to just go for it. So the fifth step is that you have to identify what's the worst that can happen if you were to fail. So going back to the book example, if your book didn't succeed and do well and you ultimately failed, you would have to go and get a job. And all the things that you're going to identify on this step, you then have to give them a grade. So if the worst thing that you have identified, you have to give it a score, give it a grade. 0 being that it won't affect your life at all, 10 being that it's going to greatly impact your life, so that you get a sense of how important and how urgent that thing is to you. And once you've done that, to proceed on to step 6. And at step 6, you have to evaluate each point that you identified at step 5 and imagine those scenarios that you wrote down. And you have to ask yourself, so if that worst case scenario did happen, what could you do to repair that damage and get things back on the right track? So for example, you'd have to get a job and you could start writing a new book in the evenings and on the weekends, and that can be your side hustle as a contingency plan if the first book was to not succeed. That leads us straight on to step 7, and on the 7th step is where you get to write down all the consequences of you not ever reaching that goal. So if you don't achieve that goal, how is that going to impact your life? Where is that going to leave you if you don't get to try and achieve the goal that you want to achieve? So back in the book example, you'd have to go get another job that you absolutely hate. You'd never get your message out into the world, and you'd never get to find out whether or not you could have done it. You're going to be left with a bucket load of regrets. And I believe that regrets are worse than fear. And at step 8, you get to write down every positive thing that would happen if you were to succeed. Here, I want you to dream big. Write down every little thing in its glory. What would happen if you were to succeed? So you could become New York Times best-selling author. You could become a motivational speaker and be offered speaking gigs. And you could also quit your job and start writing full time. Now, if you're ready to take action and punch fear in the face, book a one-on-one consultation and work with me privately to start moving your business towards success today. The link is down in the description below. Now, go and watch this video, INFJ Entrepreneurs 5 Strategies to Build Your Confidence. And I'll see you in my next one as we continue our journey towards a more wholesome, healthier, and more meaningful lifestyle.